Chapter 1. The First Fix. The story begins where most endings are written, in the quiet moments before everything changes. It was 2005, and the air in the Purdue Pharma boardroom was thick with the scent of polished oak and the faint metallic tang of ambition. The men in tailored suits leaned over spreadsheets, their voices low but urgent. On the table, a single pill bottle sat like a trophy OxyContin, the miracle drug that promised to revolutionize pain management. But the revolution had a cost, and no one in that room was counting the bodies yet. Richard Sackler, the heir to the Purdue empire, adjusted his tie and smiled. His voice was smooth, almost clinical, as he outlined the strategy. "We need to expand the market," he said, "not just for chronic pain, but for acute pain. Every ache, every injury, every twinge of discomfort. We make sure doctors see OxyContin as the answer." The others nodded. They had spent years convincing the medical world that addiction was rare, that the benefits outweighed the risks. Now, they were about to weaponize that lie. Outside, the world was changing. The internet was still in its infancy, social media, a distant dream, and smartphones were just beginning to crack the market. But inside Purdue's offices, a different kind of virus was spreading on that wouldn't be contained by firewalls or antivirus software. It would spread through prescriptions, through trust, through the unshakable belief that science had finally conquered pain. The first fix wasn't given in a hospital or a clinic. It wasn't handed to a patient in agony. It was handed to a sales rep in a training session, a placebo of sorts, a promise that this drug would change everything. And for a while, it did. Patients who had lived with unbearable pain found relief. Doctors, desperate for solutions, embraced OxyContin with open arms. The sales reps, armed with glossy brochures and carefully rehearsed scripts, fanned out across the country, turning pain into profit. But the cracks were already forming. In small towns, in big cities, people started noticing something strange. The pills weren't just for the sick anymore. They were for the stressed, the anxious, the lonely. They were for anyone who wanted to feel better faster. And the better they felt, the more they wanted. The more they wanted, the more they needed. By 2007, the whispers had turned into shouts. Overdoses were rising. Addiction was spreading like wildfire. But in the boardrooms of Purdue, the numbers told a different story. Revenue was up. Stock prices were soaring. The opioid epidemic was just another market opportunity. Then came the lawsuits. The first one was a whisper, a single voice crying out in a courtroom. But soon the whispers became a chorus. Families of the dead, the broken, the lost demanded answers. They wanted to know why no one had warned them, why the warnings that did exist were buried under layers of corporate spin, why the drug that was supposed to heal had become a curse. The first fix had been a lie, and the lie had a name, OxyContin. But the story doesn't end there, because the first fix was just the beginning. The first step in a journey that would lead to millions of ruined lives, to courtrooms filled with grief, too, and nations struggling to understand how something so small, a little white pill could cause so much destruction. In the next chapter, we'll follow the trail of money, the trail of lies, and the trail of bodies. Because the first fix wasn't just about a drug, it was about a system built on greed, on deception, and on the unshakable belief that some lives were worth more than others. And the system was just getting started.